Okay, so when we saw last week, when we saw each transformation, remember we covered four transformation. We covered translation, reflection, rotation, dilation. When we saw it each individually, it wasn't that hard. When we get them mixed, that's when it becomes a little difficult. So for today, I'm gonna work questions 17 through 20, and I'm gonna work on finding the coordinates. You guys will work on these out, and I'm gonna have all four transformations combined. So let's start with dilation. I'm looking at number 17. The instructions are we're going to find the coordinates of the vertices of each figure after the given transformation. And in this case, I have dilation of 2 about the origin. Okay. So what does this do? For dilation, let me find the initial coordinates. So I have 4 points. I'm going to find the coordinates of x, w, v, and u. I'm going to find the initial coordinates. So coordinates of x are -1, -1. What coordinates of w? Well, 0, 2. Right, we learned this in pre-algebra, like coordinates. What the coordinates of v? 1, 2. And the coordinates of u are 2, 0. Okay, so I find the initial value. Now for the dilation, I see dilation of 2. So for me to find the coordinates of the transformation, I'm going to multiply all my numbers. I'm going to multiply them by 2. So my coordinates of x prime are going to be -2, -2. All I did, I multiplied each number by 2. My coordinates of w prime are going to be 0, 4. All I did, I multiplied each by 2. My coordinates of v prime are going to be 2, 4. Again, I multiplied each by my scale factor, which was 2. And my coordinates of u prime are going to be 4, 0. So dilation is not that difficult. Remember, we're dealing with decimal. So if you have it as a fraction, change it to decimal. Now for reflection across x equals 2. It is important that I find my mirror line for reflection. The line x equals 2. So I'm looking at the y-axis. I know the y-axis, another name for the y-axis is x equals 0. That's the y-axis. Notice I changed the letter. Y-axis x equals 0. So the line x equals 2 should look like the y-axis, so up and down. But because it's positive 2, I'm going to move to the right. So my mirror line is here. This is my line x equals 2. Good, I found my mirror line. Now I'm going to move my points from one side to the other side. So my points, because my line is vertical, my points from the left are going to go to the right, and obviously my point on the right is going to go to the left. If my line was horizontal, I will move up and down. And if my line was horizontal, I will move horizontal way. So here, let me count the spaces for D. From point D to the mirror line, there's 2 spaces. So let me count 2 spaces on the other side, and that's my point D prime. Let me look at my point E. It is 1 space from the mirror line, right? I count the spaces to the mirror line. So let me count 1 space on the other side, and that's my point E prime. My point C, I'm going to the mirror line. I go 1, 2, 3 spaces. So let me go on the other side. 1, 2, 3 spaces. That's going to be my point C prime. I can, if I wish, I can connect my points. I can graph this. It's easy. But for the homework, I'm going to ask you to give me the coordinates. I'm going to ask you for D prime, C prime, and E prime. Okay. What are the coordinates of D prime? Well, 4, 1. What are the coordinates of C prime? Well, -1, -2. What are the coordinates of E prime? 3, -3. It is very important that you find the mirror line. And then once you have the mirror line, you reflect everything. So you go from one side to the other side. Count the distance, and that will help you out. Rotation. Okay, now for rotation, remember you're gonna flip the image. You're gonna in your case, you're gonna rotate the screen. So I'm gonna change it to a little visual here. You guys see that I can grab the image. In my case, I can grab the image and I can rotate it, right? In your case, you're gonna have to flip the screen. You could do that. So I'm gonna go 90 clockwise. So going the way the direction the clock goes, 90 degrees. Boom, I did it there. And I'm gonna mark this is my L prime. This is my M prime. This is gonna be K prime. And this is gonna be what letter is that N? It's gonna be my N prime. Remember, I'm gonna call this my x-axis. I'm gonna call this my y-axis because I want to label them the way they usually go. Now I'm gonna ask you, what are the coordinates of letters? I'm gonna go what K prime, L prime, M prime, and N prime. So K prime, remember I'm looking at my axis X and Y the way they usually go. I had to switch the letters. So coordinates of K prime are -4, 5. Okay. What are the coordinates of L prime? -2, 5. Good. What about M prime? M prime is 0, 1. How about N prime? N prime is -5, 0. Okay, not bad, not bad. How about translation? The translation was the first one that we saw, right? So let's change it to translation. Let's take a look at number 20. Remember the X tells me right or left. In this case, because it's +3, I go to the right. The Y tells me up or down. In this case, because it's minus, it is going down. So each of my points, I'm gonna go 3 to the right and 2 down. So let me look at my G. Let me go 3 to the right and 2 down. That's my point G prime. Look at H. 3 to the right and 2 down. That's my point H prime. And the same thing with F. 3 to the right and 2 down. I can connect my points just to make sure my images look the same, and they do. Then I'm going to ask you what are the coordinates of F prime, G prime, and H prime. So coordinates of F prime are 0, -2. Coordinates of G prime are -1, 2. And the coordinates of H prime are 2, -2. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out.